My girlfriend is withholding sex from me to punish me as a result of being selfish in bed. So me and my girlfriend have been dating for 10 months now, and our sex was incredibly rocky from the beginning. I was a virgin and incredibly oblivious and naive to the idea of sex. I had a porn addiction which she believes made me incredibly selfish. I couldn't make her come for 4 months in our relationship. She didn't help me at all with it and expected me to just know how to do it without giving me a good explanation, and she also blames it on porn. I've abstained from porn for 7 months now, but it was because my girlfriend puts watching porn on the same level as cheating on her, and I'm not allowed to do so. Hell, I can't even masturbate without her getting on my back about how crazed and addicted I am to sex. I had sex with her for 15 minutes, which she saw was too long. She got mad at me for not doing anything to her that one time, even though I offered after we cleaned up. I made her come and do the other stuff during sex, and I even said sorry and asked her to tell me next time. Her argument is that it should be my mindset to do this all for her, that it is expected of me and I should be better at reading her. She then goes on about how shit I am at sex. She has agreed in the past that she wished my penis was a little bit bigger. She has told me that the last 10 months was so unsatisfying for her, even though she tells me her other 2 experiences were worse than me, which all of these are just complete insults. And she has also been quite dishonest, as she tells me that when she says I want to come after you actually means I don't want to have sex, which just baffles me as I always stop when she says no. Her lack of clarity and communication is so worrying. I'm worried I will or have done something she doesn't actually want, and she will start accusing me of things when in reality it was because she wasn't being clear and blunt, she wasn't being open and communicating, and that I should have read her on what she wanted. As a result, we aren't having sex, and she's doing it to teach me a lesson on my selfish attitude. I have zero problems with not having sex unless she wants to, and although I agree that time and times in the past I've been selfish, as well as the fact that she's right about that porn might be a contributing factor, am I fair to be upset with the reasoning? Was it fair for me to ask for better communication to know and understand what she'll less, rather than acting like I can read minds and understand and remember what she wants? This one's done. Just go. Yikes, your girlfriend is the one who is bad at sex. She is also bad at being a partner and a failure at even being a good person. Dump this one before she fucks you up mentally even more than she already has, and she definitely has fucked you up since she's managed to convince you any of these things are your fault when they are nearly entirely her fault. And in future insist on direct communication about all aspects of your relationship. Don't let people get away with expecting you to read their mind and blaming you when you can't. Ditto everyone else here. Cut your losses, dude. This isn't even a loss. Just get away from her. Honestly, it's time to get away from her. You're not a mind reader, but she's expecting you to be. She's not being clear, but expects you to understand everything she sort of almost, but never really says. She's insulting and cruel instead of sharing with you things that feel good and she would like you to do. This is not a healthy relationship in any way. I'm 39F, pissed at my best friend, 42F, for getting a kitten soon after taking her cat to a kill shelter. Should I say something? A friend of over a decade gave her 8-year-old cat, one of 3 cats, up because he was biting her 5-year-old. They attempted few, if any, behavioral interventions. From my observation, it was pretty normal annoyance biting that could have been addressed. Between mentioning that it was an issue and taking him to a local shelter with a 40% kill rate, there was less than a week. I had meant to ask her more about it and offer support, even to the point of taking the cat, but I didn't realize giving him up was on the table until she messaged me and said she was sad because she had taken Olaf to the shelter that day. She mentioned that she told them about his biting problem. I went to the shelter when it opened the next day. The worker told me that I can't inquire about specific animals, but I could look at the ones there available for adoption. Olaf wasn't there. He never showed up on their website. He wasn't there several days later when I went again. I assume that he was euthanized because he was deemed unadoptable. irresponsible. Even if he weren't, I feel like my friend was pretty irresponsible for not waiting for a spot in a no-kill to open and for telling them about the biting, which, honestly, was partly connected to her kid not reading cues. The situation bothered me, but I tried to remind myself that parenthood is hard and to not be judgmental. Fast forward to a year later, she's adopting a goddamned kitten. Now, she has 2 other cats. They avoid her son, who is my godson, in their small apartment. He doesn't particularly enjoy them. So they have animals and unexploited opportunities to help him build those relationships. But they're not, as far as I can tell, working that hard to educate themselves about managing kitten/kid behaviors and relationships. I'm worried that this little cat will do the same thing and also get booted. I'm going to get them a Jackson Galaxy book, but, honestly, I'm fuming and feel like I need to say something directly. I fully expect that might end the friendship, but it feels wrong and difficult to respect to just watch her do this. Am I looking at this the wrong way? Am I being too judgmental? Would there be an effective way to approach this that will protect the cat? Too long didn't read. Friend is adopting a kitten after having given up a cat due to the cat's fairly normal and addressable behavioral issues. Should I address that? The shelter's policy of not letting people inquire about specific animals is stupid and counterproductive. It could have been a cover in case they already put him down and were trying not to let someone who knew the cat know. Personally, I would say something like, "You are a piece of shit who sentenced an innocent cat to die because you couldn't be bothered trying to correct a likely very fixable issue. I don't know what will happen with the new kitten because I don't expect you will put in the necessary time to train it any more than you did. Cat's name, but if you decide to throw this one away too, call me and I will take it rather than letting you sentence another cat to death. Other than needing to rehome the kitten though, don't fucking contact me." I second in liking this response. My heart sunk incredibly low when I read Olaf was most like put down due to something that, as you said, could have been fixed. More than likely the child was bothering Olaf and he would have every right to be uncomfortable in his own home. His friend seems like someone who is incredibly irresponsible and doesn't understand the value of animal life. I feel your pain. One of my close friends had a bird and she basically told me that she was overwhelmed with her life and not in a spot to take care of a bird on top of her kids, house, and other pets. She had even considered letting it go outside. I took it and kept it for a week or so while I located a no-kill bird shelter that had an opening. Drove it to the shelter and gave the lady there $20 and a bag of bird seed even though there was no fee to drop off a bird because I felt bad. Then a month or 2 later I see her on Facebook posting pictures of her with her new bird. I choose not to say anything but I was like, WTF? I honestly hate people like that. Someone on my fiance's side of the family posted her elderly dog on Facebook asking for someone to take it off her hands. The same week she posts a picture of the new puppy she needed to make room for. Like what a boss. Is she adopting a kitten from a rescue? If so, you could call them and tell them about her past actions. That's brilliant. Thank you. I had a friend like this. He adopted a cat, the cat disappeared, most likely killed. She wasn't an outside cat yet my friend let her go outside negligently, and she quickly got another cat. We aren't friends anymore. My F28 partner, M35, refuses to do a budget with me. We moved states to be safe during the pandemic, which meant me losing employment. He now refuses to budget with me and insists that I don't have a right to ask him to budget and prioritize my bills, which are shared costs. I don't know what to do. We have been together almost 7 years, finances have always been an issue. Now he keeps using the "how will I ever buy you a ring if I can't put money aside without you knowing" excuse to avoid communication around money. He has hidden a major kratom addiction from me in the past, and is still using about 1 kilo a month, maybe just a bit more. He has a history with opiates. He's working doing landscaping, and I have work here and there. but it's a pandemic, I'm a server by trade, and there aren't any serving jobs available in this area. I also have asthma and rheumatic arthritis, so I am high risk of death with COVID-19. I just feel so manipulated and unsupported. I can't buy anything I need because I am not even making enough to cover all the shared bills that come from my account. Just don't know how to move forward. I've suggested splitting everything 50-50, keeping track on Venmo, getting a joint account for bills we both contribute to, and having totally joined funds. None he's willing to do. I'm beginning to think this is his way of financially abusing me. I just can't seem to get ahead or put money aside with him. 7 years. If you guys haven't sorted this stuff out by now, it's time to move on. Yeah. Genuinely. That's where I'm at. Shit is ridiculous. Can't believe we still argue over this stuff. I'm exhausted about it. I was yelling Ruyun after the first sentence. Then I was screaming it. Run Forrest run. You deserve better. This guy's clearly a shady mfer. Prot. He is a genuinely good person. Are these the characteristics of a genuinely good person? He has a history with opiates. He has hidden a major kratom addiction from me in the past. Having totally joined funds. None he's willing to do. I just feel so manipulated and unsupported. I bet my life savings you're going to stick out only to be disappointed later, again, and then only have yourself to blame for it later. It's a vicious cycle. One I can admittedly and shamefully say I've gone through more than once. Yeah. I feel like I've been sticking it out for a year or two though at this point. I have such a hard time giving up on something I've worked so hard for and sacrificed so much for. You're right though, I only blame myself. You, me and all of Reddit, we all know that money isn't going towards a ring. So how long will you play this game with him? How long will you allow yourself to be deceived? 7 years you say? I'd say it's about time you make a stand. Alright, I'm tired of it. I just want to be with someone who is happy to do the work to build a life together.